Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be making a really light and decadent coconut cake. So if you want to learn, just keep on watching. Here's the recipe and feel free to screenshot. For the filling, we will be making coconut Macu cream, and to learn how to do that, just click the link up here. And for the buttercream, we will be using that recipe, so make sure to watch that video. So firstly, I'm going to be squeezing my freshly shredded coconut into a bowl using a cheesecloth to extract the coconut milk out of the freshly shredded coconut. But if you're really lucky, you have a store wherein canned coconut milk is readily accessible, then that's good, that's perfect, you can use it. But I also find that natural organic coconut milk has much more flavor and it doesn't have that artificial taste, which I don't really like. And so after you squeeze the freshly shredded coconut, make sure to add in about a cup of cold water and then squeeze the pulp again, just to make sure that all the coconut milk is extracted out of the shreds and you make use of all the moisture and flavor of the coconut milk. Now we can get on with making our toasted coconut flakes. So I'm using freshly shredded coconut. I'm spreading it out on a cookie sheet, making sure to flatten them out so that they get heated evenly, and sprinkle some brown sugar. I like brown sugar more than granulated sugar just because it has more toasty caramelly flavor, which I think complements well with the toasted coconut. So make sure to take them out of the oven for about 1 minute at a time, then make sure to stir it all up and then spread it out again just to make sure you're not burning anything. So it took me about 5 times of getting it out of the oven, stirring it up, and then toasting it back more until it reached this color. So the clusters of the coconut must be brown on the edge, and then the center is like a light brown. And you don't have to worry about the color, you just stir it up and it'll be uniform. So you don't have to worry. And the coconut flakes are now ready for mixing into the batter and for topping the cake. At this point, we are ready to make our cake batter. So start off with measuring your butter into the bowl along with half the quantity of your sugar. The reason we're doing this is because the other half of the sugar is going to be used for the meringue later. So in this stage, we're going to have to cream our butter and sugar together, which basically means we have to mix and whisk our butter and sugar until it looks light, pale, and fluffy. So if you're going to ask, why do we have to cream the butter and sugar? Why do we have to do this extra step? Well, creaming basically means we're gonna have to incorporate air into the butter, thus resulting into a lighter and fluffier cake. Now we can add in our eggs. Separate your yolks from your whites. We're gonna use the whites for the meringue later, and then the yolks have to be added one at a time into the butter and sugar mixture. Make sure to do this because if you add it all at once, there is a tendency that your batter might split or curdle. At the same time, your butter and eggs should be of room temperature or at least the same temperature, because otherwise your batter could still split, which you definitely don't want. Add in your oil and then mix well. Next up is the flour, salt, baking powder, and baking soda. Sift it in so that you are sure that there are no lumps into your batter. And I've also read somewhere in an article or a blog maybe that if you sift in your dry ingredients, it'll actually make the cake much lighter. So I don't know if it's true, but I guess there's no harm in trying, right? And another key thing to keep your cake light and fluffy is to fold in your ingredients. So basically to fold is to scrape the sides and fold the batter onto itself. So scrape, fold, and don't forget to scrape the bottom too. Just keep going until all the flour has been incorporated into the batter. Add in your milk, and just like what we did with the flour, let's do the folding motion to incorporate the milk into the batter. So its purpose is actually to keep all the air trapped into the batter, because if you stir it too hard, the air will escape the batter, which you definitely don't want. And finally, our flour again and coconut flakes. So basically, we're alternating the dry with the wet and then ending with the dry ingredients. It's just to make sure that your batter is all smooth. Shh, it's our secret. And an extra step to make your cake lighter and fluffier is to fold in some meringue into your batter. So basically, meringue is made up of egg whites, sugar, and lots of air incorporated through mixing. So you want to start with a really low speed, and once your egg whites turn frothier, that's when you can add in your sugar gradually, like maybe 1 tablespoon at a time, and you will know that your meringue is ready for folding into the batter. Once you stop the mixer, lift the beaters up, and you will see that a stiff peak forms, and this peak must hold its shape really well. Spoon in your meringue into 3 parts into your batter so that, just to introduce the meringue to the batter, like saying, "Hi, I'm meringue, I'm batter," and they will harmoniously mix in the end. And once you reach that smooth, velvety consistency, that's when you can pour it into our tins. The tins you're gonna use needs to be lined with parchment paper and oiled on the bottom so that the cake won't stick. But take note to not oil the sides, as the batter needs something to cling onto to rise properly. So you can change the size of your tin. Just take note that the larger the pan, the longer it takes to bake the cake. So I'm using here 8-inch tins, 2 of them, and I'm gonna be baking them at 175 degrees Celsius for 20 to 25 minutes, or until a toothpick comes out clean when inserted in the middle. Once the cakes are baked, you can cool them in the tin for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then you can release the cake using a offset spatula, then fully cool them into a wire rack. As for the filling, we will be using coconut pastry cream recipe. I already made a video on how to make pastry cream. Just watch that video in the link up here, but substitute the evaporated milk with coconut milk. And we will also be using this coconut pastry cream to make our coconut buttercream. It's just butter plus coconut pastry cream, aka Crème Mousseline. Start by softening your butter into your bowl. Let it come to room temperature. You'll know it's ready when you press it with your finger and the indentation holds its shape and your finger doesn't feel greasy. Then start beating the butter at high speed for about 5 to 8 minutes, just until it goes light, pale, and fluffy. So we're creaming it again, because if you skip this step, your buttercream could become stodgy, the texture is a bit heavy, so this step makes your buttercream creamier, lighter, and just more delicious. See, that's how it should be. It's a lot lighter, paler, fluffier, and just creamier in consistency, and almost doubled in size. So right then and there, you can add in your pastry cream. So plop it in and then start mixing for about 8 to 10 minutes on high speed, or just until it's a bit more volumized. Now that the buttercream is ready, we are very much ready for the most exciting part. I mean, the second to the most exciting part, which is decorating. At this stage where your buttercream is ready, you can color it pretty much any color that you want. So here I used some gel food coloring. It's turquoise. It's one of my favorite colors, if you notice. So just keep folding it gently until all the color is dispersed throughout the buttercream. So I started splitting my cake layers into halves, but you can skip this step. You can just use whole layers, but I like to divide them just to get my preferred ratio of cake to icing, so you could also do that. Please do take note though that there are some clips in this decorating part which got corrupted. I don't know what happened. I was so frustrated, but I did salvage some clips, so I hope you still enjoy. So let's start stacking. So I'm gonna start with the cake layer, and then I'm piping a buttercream border around the edge, which acts like a dam since pastry cream is quite a soft filling. It prevents the filling from smushing out the sides. Then flatten it out, smooth it with a spatula, and then cover it up again with another layer of cake, and just keep going until you finish all your layers. Make sure that your last cake layer on top is put on upside down so that the top part is the flattest side. So put on a big dollop of frosting on top and put some on the sides and spread it out thinly, smoothly, evenly. This is your crumb coat. It prevents the crumbs from getting into your final layer, making the cake look beautiful. But it was a bit melty. The cake was topsy-turvy, but it all worked out in the end. Oh my god, Philippines is so hot. It's such a challenge to make a cake here, especially when it's a sunny day. Oh my god, shout out to y'all Filipinos. Love ya. So this is the cake after the crumb coat. Now I'm applying the final layer. Look how it's a bit smoother. So I'm just putting another dollop on top, and then I'm gonna be spreading it out onto the edge and letting some fall over onto the sides. And I'm gonna be spreading it out thinly, evenly, not only with a spatula but also with a plastic icing scraper. I think it's a really handy tool, but also very cheap, which is nice because it gives you that really smooth finish and the edges are just sharp, and I love it. Currently, there's a lip of icing on the edge, so I'm just swiping it with a offset spatula, dragging it towards the center of the cake to make the edges look sharp and beautiful. By the way, you can decorate this cake any way you want, but at the time I was making this, it was Easter, and so I wanted to make it look like a robin's egg. So I made some splatter, the speckles on the robin's egg. I used some cocoa powder and a little bit of hot water and some of the buttercream. I'm gonna mix it all together, and I'm gonna use it to speckle with a brush onto the cake. And finally, the finally smooth buttercream cake is now ready for topping. I'm piping a buttercream border rat around the edge and then sprinkling some toasted coconut flakes that we made earlier to make it look like a giant nest, perhaps. And like what I said, you can decorate this any way you want, but it was just Easter this time, so it had to look like a robin's egg, and then a nest was sitting top of it. And I'm also topping it with some meringues that look like little robin's egg. I will make a tutorial for that maybe later on. Just comment down below if you want one. So enjoy! And that's it for our coconut cake recipe. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if ever you're gonna make this cake, please tag me on Instagram at Macu Baker so that I can see all your work. And don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell so that you don't miss an update. I hope you're all safe and well in your home, and shout out to all the frontliners. We are so grateful. Thank you for your courage and your sacrifice, and I hope that soon we will be able to beat COVID-19. So that's it, guys. Enjoy the cake, stay safe, y'all, and maintain social distancing. Bye!